I'll
The
take the dark
CIA
mode.
is trying to recruit Gen Z and doesn't care if they're all over social media. So, a couple of weeks ago, we found this guy who had recently started doing stuff with TYT and never heard of him before, Ben Carollo, and go to his Twitter profile and it says CIA understander. And we're like, that's kind of weird as a title or as a description. And it could be sarcastic, but it doesn't seem like it, because if you go back and Reef went into his bio on LinkedIn, he's former military intelligence.
Air Force.
Yeah.
Particularly.
So it was a little weird, and then there's this. They've got this girl Ravana now, so they've got a next generation that they seem to be now trying to bring in. I would guess that Hassan is probably giving his uncle some advice as to who he should be looking towards, which is a smart move, because Hassan's built a tremendous channel, a tremendous network, and it's disappointing to see how he's been behaving and crapping on poor people and on people that are actually trying to organize and be activists. And they are activists, but to share strategies and tactics and bring people in and go out to strikes and show solidarity and educate. But it is what it is.
Yep.
This piece, when you pull up to Langley, you have to shout your social security number out to the window into a speaker like you're ordering fries to a drive-thru.
Jesus. Mother's
Right?
maiden name?
Right. Much like the union that the agency was formed to protect, the system, as it seems, could be more perfect. But I'm willing to do what it takes to get the inside story of how the CIA is recruiting and working with the next generation of spies. One would think it's basically impossible to get millennials and Zoomers into covert jobs. Right? But what it's basically saying is that they don't really mind necessarily that here. So it's kind of funny. They put them into like a soundproof booth, right?
Yeah.
If the whole point of being a spy is that nobody knows who you really are, and no one can ever find out, how exactly are you supposed to achieve this level of anonymity when you flung untold reams of identifiable content across the digital world? I intended to find out. This is really interesting. Right, made it through the visitor center, through the original headquarters building, right? The lobby that you see on TV with the CIA seal and the floor tile, everything, right? And
Yep.
Look at that. Wishes from past presidents. I am very proud of you. You are the world's best. Come on, I'll let you do it. You can do your Trump.
I'm very proud of you. You're all the world's best. It's very, very best. The very, very best. Like fucking.
Nice. Right. Through a museum where okay, so he goes through all this whole. He's led my meeting with Michael T. Burns, Associate Director for CIA Talent, right? Not HR, not recruiting, talent, right? Took place in the Office of Public Affairs conference room, a windowless space that hilariously is decorated with famed posters of spy movies and TV shows. This is where they meet the media. Like, they're trying to propagandize you right down to the freaking walls.
Well, they've always had, like, you know, Hollywood's always had some form of connection because the military won't let you do any military film without, like, approval, essentially, right?
Right.
You know, otherwise you can't use, like, military, like, objects. You can't, like, actually have a Humvee or whatever. So they usually just decide to make it nice and easy for for, like, United States. So I'm sure. Plus, like, you watch, what was that Ben Affleck film? Where it was actually a CIA plot anyway. They were just using it to, like, make a fake film. You know?
Oh, Argo.
That sort of thing.
Argo, yeah, fuck yourself. That's literally how they came up with the name.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. That's a good movie, by the way. Entertaining,
yeah. It's been a while since I watched that.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
Yep.
So most folks that are applying to jobs in the intel community have kind of prepared themselves in their portfolios and lifestyles for such an application. Right? They've gone through, they're shrewd enough to either be circumspect users of social media, right? They've carefully constructed their profiles, and that's why Reef was able to sniff it out like in 3 seconds. They're not that they're hiding in plain sight, right? But the CIA is a modern, savvy organization. They want and encourage most officers to have a social media presence because, quite frankly, if you don't have one, it's a red flag. It looks weird. I agree with that. So you got to blend in and look normal. I would argue that some of the Gen Z and younger folks, their networks are so huge, it's almost a blessing. You can't figure out who their close friends are because they're friends with everybody. Could this really be true? Well, social media is not a huge deal at all. That's what the CIA is telling a reporter. Nah, they don't spend 30% of their budget.
Nothing to see here.
Holy shit.
No.
I got to bring up that YouTube video that Todd showed a couple weeks ago that Jimmy used to show, that it's the CIA agent from the 70s. It was like, oh yeah, we plan stories. We co-op reporters all the time. We basically bring them in as agents, or we feed them things, and half the time it's true, and half the time it's not. And they plant stories for us all the time. I mean, that's what the CIA does, is they plant misinformation over and over. And then they counter other people's misinformation, sometimes with correct information, sometimes with their own misinformation. So, when would-be spies apply for jobs, they have no idea if their role will involve covert work or not. If your application, resume, writing samples, standard issue government stuff passes muster, take personality test, you could end up being a paper pusher for the CIA. Look, they need people that'll actually do desk jobs too. Not everyone becomes an agent, but everyone becomes an employee. Then comes an interview. When do the interviews take place? This is a really interesting, because again, it literally goes into the hiring process. Okay, can I take the personality test? They make everyone take one. All right. If you are interested in or have applied for a job at CIA, do not follow us on social media.
Where do they pull out like one of the old Cosmo, like personality?
That's pretty interesting.
They use like
why
Myers-Briggs or
why 16 personalities. I'm an INTP.
Mm-hmm. Labels are bad. Okay.
Yeah. No, nor did I get to take a polygraph, which a millennial CIA analyst who joined the agency less than 5 years ago told me via email was a very concerning part of the process, especially since I applied right after college. Right? So this is real. Again, they were surveying and kind of asking people who, fishing expeditions. You find out. Okay. Amazing. For the sake of argument, let's say the agency doesn't mind at all that I've immortalized some of my tackiest Halloween costumes on Instagram and may or may not have posted the results of multiple BuzzFeed which Gossip Girl character are you personality quizzes on Facebook, which means that they got hacked by the Russians, by the way.
Probably.
No, definitely. That's exactly how Cambridge Analytica got to people. It was like these stupid quizzes. All right? I, too, have made it through the recruitment process. I'm given an assignment as a case officer. Time to go undercover. If you give me a fake name, but meanwhile, I already have this whole online life where I go by my real name, can't somebody just take my picture, reverse Google search image it, and blow my cover? We're going to give people fake names in most cases.
No, that's the fake one. Someone make a fake account.
Right. It's just about not having an association with the agency. Right. What they do is they outsource somebody to a private organization like who did Edward Snowden work for? One of the big military defense contracts.
Not DARPA, but
he wasn't NSA either. I can't think of the name of the.
Well, you said this the other day too, and I couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't remember. Oh well. Anyway.
Smoke more weed than you might.
Yeah. That's just what I need to do. Smoke weed to remember.
You probably remembered it. You probably remembered it high.
Well, right. No, the first time I heard it high. So now I have to be high. I don't remember.
I have to remember
Aha!
it. Yeah.
Aha! Thank you, Method Man and Red Man, for teaching me that.
That's my trick, Cap. I'm always high.
Yep. Disappointed not to be getting an alias in a disguise. I was hoping wigs would be involved. Maybe like Kerry Russell for season 6, redhead with bangs.
Yeah, like one of those Mission Impossible, like spies used to be cool at least. Now they're just blink blumps.
Right here,
like
bleep blump pan. What? Cover is best tailored to reality, right? And you shape your own persona to suit your cover. So it could actually be something you leverage. You leverage your existing profile to suit your cover requirements. So, for example, if somebody wanted to be a Twitch streamer and wanted to talk left, quote-unquote, progressive politics, well, they might build a niche and they might be able to funnel a certain online audience and have a certain influence over a certain number of people and be known in a certain community and give them deniability and respectability in a certain community, which would then tip off certain people or make them think that they're not CIA agent. Now, internationally, there's cover. They can also say that you're a foreign service officer to justify your presence in whatever country you're operating in. Yep. They usually attach you to the State Department somewhere at a low-level staffer. Say you're Jessica Goldstein and you're in Prague and you're working for a Washingtonian magazine. That's who you really are. That's legit. While you're in Prague, you would be clandestinely meeting with some senior official from the foreign ministry. And at the end of that meeting, if someone approaches you, you might say, "Oh, I'm meeting my boyfriend. We were dancing." Or if
you were a Hollywood bachelor, like movie star, something like that, or you were like a famous chef, or any of those. They used to use Britain used to use hello Julia. Somebody used to use Julia, right?
Did they?
So,
yeah, I think so.
Julia Child.
Maybe.
I don't know if it was us or somebody else, but
most of the CIA spies are not running around telling people they're reporters or just enjoying a night out with a hot date in Bolesovus.
Yeah.
My editor, for one, assures me he doesn't have a Prague correspondent, and he suspected she's funny. I can see why Max Blumenthal likes her writing. She's very snarky and very funny and very sarcastic, very dry. Okay, so young people who want to work at the CIA need not fear that their TikToks render them unemployable. But do young people even want to work at the CIA?
Crazy.
Well, some people do, apparently.
It's funny that TikTok, I can't use a single TikTok in any YouTube video because all of them have copyright music in them.
Here's how propaganda works. A Pew study in 2018 found that only 47% of millennials agree that the intelligence community plays a vital role in protecting the country, compared to 78% of respondents. So they don't see them quite as the same role, but according to an earlier Pew study, millennials also hold critical the CIA's post 9/11 interrogation methods, including use of black sites, etc., torture, individuals suspected of terrorism. CIA black sites are bad.
Yes, they are. Okay.
Yeah, CIA black sites are bad. Okay. Oh, golden hour.
Light. Yeah. Oh.
Brass notes it needs to diversify the ranks. Langley was historically lousy with waspy white guys, mostly Yaleys, though Princetonians would do. They wanted a certain cutout. Only 6 years ago, civil rights activist Vernon Jordan chaired a study on diversity for John Brennan, not a good guy, by the way, which found that over the past 20 years, the senior leadership of the CIA has become less diverse, and the agency's workforce is not diverse. In fact, the more senior the agency's workforce is, the less diverse it is. Not a surprise. Okay, given the ever-sprawling nature of America's... Again, this is a long, long article. Definitely go and check this out, but it's almost over here.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just my cover. So is she an agent?
You have to tell me, otherwise it's entrapment.
Right.
You have to say.
She's not a cop.
She's not a cop. Have you asked her?
That? Are you a cop?
Are you a cop?
Well, you better get hip to Indie Left. Indie Left. indieleft.news.